You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports. Well, we have gotten a little insight, and this is something I've talked about on the channel several times while people were banging the drum wondering why the hell Eric Bieniemy was not a head coach in the National Football League, and it obviously had to be because he was black. And I kept saying, no, there's other issues going on involving this particular coach, okay? There's a history of different activities over time, some of it legal related that goes back to the 90s, and then there's things involving the University of Colorado, that scandal, and then there are things far as him being an actual coach on the field. Now, he came very close to getting the Saints job, okay, but Dennis Allen had been there, and ultimately they decided to go with Dennis Allen. Well, now a story's come out, and by the way, the Chiefs insider that put this out took so much backlash that he had to pull it down. Now, I don't know why he pulled it down exactly. Some were accusing him of writing a hit piece on Eric Bieniemy. I don't know if any of it became racial. I don't know what happened there. Okay, I don't. But there's some very interesting things in this, and it is not surprising that Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job. By the way, him and Andy Reid met for hours and hours and hours, and he may end up leaving the Chiefs and not have a head coaching job somewhere. Report alleges Chiefs OC Eric Bieniemy has beef with Patrick Mahomes that cost Kansas City the AFC Championship. I mean, good Lord, come on. There's no way you can beef with that quarterback. I mean, for crying out loud. It looked like the Chiefs were well on their way to appearing in a Super Bowl for the third year in a row after pulling out to a 21-3 lead with 5 minutes to go in the first half in this year's AFC Championship. The Bengals were able to cut that deficit to 11 and mounted a goal line stand with the help of a very questionable play call that brought the first half to an end. But the reigning conference champs were still in a pretty good place to retain that crown when they headed into the locker room. Unfortunately, their inability to put any points on the board during the final drive turned out to be very costly as Joe Burrow and company surged back to tie the game in regulation, ultimately walk away with a 27-24 win to punch their ticket to the big game. There was plenty of blame to go around following the loss, and while Patrick Mahomes willingly shouldered the burden, that is a franchise quarterback, he went out there, he took the blame, he ate it. It didn't take long for a storm of discontent to form in Kansas City that's continued to grow thanks to rumors concerning the scapegoat at its center, offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. On Wednesday, Chiefs Kingdom, an operation that was formed in 1997 by an anonymous but well-connected insider who's nabbed plenty of scoops in 25 years of existence, published an in-depth article exploring the role Bieniemy allegedly played in the loss, in addition to a number of other institutional issues sources say he's largely blamed for. Now, it goes on to talk about the fact that Chiefs Kingdom ultimately pulled down the piece, again, because he was taking heat for, he or she was taking heat for all kinds of, in my opinion, bullshit reasons. I mean, look, if just because something's critical does not make it a hit piece. I mean, it is what it is. You've got to be objective. The entire thing is worth a read, but it features a few claims that won't exactly please Chiefs fans if the sources who contributed to the report are to be believed. According to the insiders Chiefs Kingdom spoke with, Bieniemy and Mahomes have had their fair share of disagreements over the team's offensive approach. Yikes. That's by no means a unique problem to the franchise, but one source suggested the OC, Eric Bieniemy, has held a grudge against the quarterback since the team's 31-9 loss to Tampa Bay in the last Super Bowl, as he apparently believes that the abysmal offensive performance on the NFL's biggest stage led to him being passed over for a potential job as a head coach for another squad. He literally basically blamed a quarterback that, by the way, has already led his butt to a Super Bowl championship. He blamed Patrick Mahomes for him not having gotten a job. Are you kidding me? If anything, he's helped this case. I'm sorry. The report states the animosity between the two men only continued to grow over the course of the season before coming to a head at the worst possible time in the AFC Championship. While Mahomes caught plenty of heat for attempting to call a timeout, everybody remember the timeout he tried to take? The Chiefs didn't have, at the end of the first half, Bieniemy, who has full control of teams' offensive play calls, supposedly told Kansas City still had one to use, which allegedly resulted in the quarterback confronting him after heading into the tunnel. Okay, so evidently Bieniemy told Patrick Mahomes, you've got a timeout left, when he didn't. Okay, Chiefs Kingdom claims tensions continued to flare in the second half as both Mahomes and Andy Reid are said to have taken issue with Bieniemy's ill-fated game plan. The offensive coordinator's contract expired after the season, so while only time will tell what the franchise will do going forward, it's hard to believe he'll be on the sidelines next year if this report has any merit. Okay, now I present this to you. The 2021 season, this is from Josh Alper over at PFT, was the final one of Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy's contract, and it's unclear if he will be back with the team for another run in 2022. Clarity about how things will play out will reportedly be coming soon. Adam Schefter of ESPN says that Bieniemy is expected to meet with Chief head coach Andy Reid soon to discuss whether they will continue working together. Okay, that was on the 13th. Bieniemy has been on Reid's staff since 2013. Per the report, Bieniemy could coach in college or take a year off. It does not remain with the Chiefs. If Bieniemy does not return, the team won't be able to turn to the likeliest in-house replacement. Quarterbacks coach Mike Kafka signed to become the Giants offensive coordinator after Brian Daboll was hired as head coach. That is a great hire by the Giants, by the way, because I think that should have been the guy that if something happened, either Bieniemy got a job as a head coach, or if Andy Reid let him go, Mike Kafka would have been a great dude to have elevated being the quarterback's coach, having a relationship with Patrick Mahomes, and some saying at times him being a passing game coordinator for the Chiefs. Passing game coordinator at times, if that tells you anything. So there we have it. We've got this explosive report. Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, was feuding with the franchise quarterback that just got a 10-year, $450 million deal. So much so, and Andy Reid was mad because he didn't like the game plan that Eric Bieniemy put out there. And on top of that, there were rumors out there that he didn't like the game plan and some adjustments made to the Super Bowl game plan last year against the Buccaneers. That's allegedly, that's rumors. But that tells you right there, something was going on with Eric Bieniemy, and likely, you got to understand, all these teams are tied in, all right? One guy calls another guy calls another guy on a staff. Eric Bieniemy goes into an interview. Somebody calls Andy Reid, and Andy Reid's like, I don't know about this. I don't know about that guy. You know, I mean, they all know, hey, you've got a franchise quarterback. Look, he can't get along with Patrick Mahomes. You want to bring him in and subject a just drafted quarterback or somebody to this guy that is feuding with, obviously, next to Andy Reid, the most important guy in the franchise. You just can't do that. Pretty surprising. The last time I remember something like this kind of happening was Todd Haley and Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers a few years ago, when I think they were sort of button heads on the team pretty badly. And, of course, Haley ended up gone, if I remember correctly. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. Wow. Well, that is certainly a football reason why potentially Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job. I mean, there you go. Peace. I'm out. Till next.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.